In the last video, we talked about kind of the overall how the class would function. Here, I want to talk about how grades will work, because it'll be a little bit different than you might be used to if you haven't had a class with me, but we're working off of a grading contract in this class. So if you're unsure or if you're in doubt, please ask questions. It's new for you potentially, and I'm happy to clarify and work through and make sure that we're all on the same page. So the big question is why? Why are we doing something different than just giving tests and assignments, scoring them, and then throwing numbers into Sycamore and seeing what pops out? Well, there's a couple of reasons. First, percentage grades are usually unclear. The example I like to kind of fall back on is what makes an 89 different from a 90? Why are those two students different? Why is, our cutoff point there? And it's usually unclear to see like, well, what would I need to have done to do a little bit better? Or what did I do so that I didn't end up a little lower, a little worse? So to kind of combat that, this contract makes the expectations clear once we kind of talk through it and make sense of it. This helps you, in turn, this helps you to know what you need to do to improve your grade. As you'll see in a minute here, it'll be really clear of here's what I've done, here's what's needed for the next grade, so if I want to move up to there, here's the steps I need to take. This will also in turn help you prioritize your time. If you're already at a certain threshold that you're happy with, you're meeting requirements for a B in a given category, then and you want to earn a B, and you don't need to work on that category at this time. Instead, work on maybe where you're only meeting a C or not meeting a C. And then as time goes on, maybe you get everything to a B and you decide, oh, I want to work towards an A. Same thing. You can look at the places that you're not meeting those requirements, prioritize that. And then finally, this frames work and grading as agreement. It basically says that you and I are on the same page of what's expected from the class going into the semester or into the year. And then once we've got that, we know where we're going and what we're aiming for. So with that, on the next slide, I'm going to show you kind of for your specific class what the grading contract looks like and talk through each of the categories a bit, and then we'll, of course, talk more about them in class together. Here's the grading contract for web design, and you'll notice there's 3 categories, 3 things that I'm going to kind of assess and check from you, and there's 3 kind of grades that you can end up with. So you can end up with a C, a B, or an A. Technically, you can also end up with an F, but I'm hoping that will not happen in this semester. To meet the requirements, to earn a C, you need to meet all the requirements for a C. To earn a B, you need to meet all the requirements for a B. And to earn an A, you need to meet all the requirements for an A. If you miss one of the categories, then that'll reduce your grade as a result. So the 3 things that we're doing, first of all, ironically it will be in second quarter, are the website projects. So when you do those website projects, there will be 3 of them, and I expect those 3 websites to meet acceptable standards, and there'll be a rubric for it. It'll all make sense once we start getting closer. But for a C, 3 of those should be acceptable. For a B, 2 of those should be acceptable and 1 should be exemplary. And for an A, 1 of them should be acceptable and 2 of them should be exemplary. If you have all 3 of them exemplary, great. But there's a little bit of breathing room here where you don't have to get everything absolutely perfect. There will be some opportunities for group work there, but I do want in each case for you to be completing at least 1 individual website where I can kind of see your skills on your own there. For the learning, and this is what's happening basically first quarter, We talked about the mastery checks in the last video. For a C, I want to see 65% of those skills mastered. For a B, 75% of them checked off, including all the must-dos. And for an A, 85% of them with all of the must-dos. Finally, we'll be asking you to make a portfolio. I'll help you kind of work through that, set that up. This will be using a set of standards. There's a list that you can see on the grading contract. I'll also kind of probably print out a list for you if you want it. And you'll create some sort of portfolio that shows you meeting those standards. So these are standards that have to do with good digital citizenship, coding skills, collaborating with others. There are a lot of things that just relate to technology and its use. So I want to see at least 6 of those standards. You give me sufficient evidence for 6 of those standards for a C, 9 of those standards for a B, and 12 of those standards for an A. And this is a list of, I think, about 27 or something, so there's a lot that you can choose from and see what works for you. So that's our grading contract. That's what we'll be using to kind of determine grades. We'll have some discussion about it in class if there's anything you're unsure of, but otherwise, if anything comes up later, please feel free to ask.